To you live from the Now Media Newsroom.
Elenore Sturko, we're going to ask her for another interview. We've interviewed her in the past. The NDP's legislative changes require courts to interpret Land and Title Act through UNDRIP. And she says, I don't believe government received the informed consent of British Columbia to fundamentally change the governance of this province. And yesterday, I interviewed Jeff Moyse. I think it's my fourth interview with Jeff Moyse. And you got to go watch this interview. And that's what he says, that British Columbians need to demand that British Columbia and Canada stop following DRIPA and UNDRIP and all that. And because it's not part of Canada's constitution. It's a UN thing that the NDP and the Liberals have adopted. But one of the things that right at the end of the interview, you got to go watch this interview. It's one of the most revealing. He dropped a literal bombshell in there, and said that David Eby, that most of this is being orchestrated right out of the Premier's office, and everything's under the cover of darkness. Russ Dad and many other, including Elenore Sturko, are asking for all these things to pause, all these negotiations to pause until they can sort this out. But David Eby continues on, and all under the cover of darkness. And these ongoing discussions are being held. And Jeff said that one of his colleagues that has also 30 years in Aboriginal law went into an MLA's office and basically said, what the hell is going on? And then as they conversed a bit, she said, are you a lawyer? And he says, yeah, I have 30 plus years experience in Aboriginal law settling treaties. And she said, well, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to debate you. Here's the party line. And he thinks that most of the MLAs don't even know what's going on, and that all of this is being orchestrated right out of David Eby's office with a few select advisors. And he said some of these select advisors, and get ready for it, want British Columbians to feel extreme pain with reconciliation.
It's quite a big claim to make, isn't it?
Pretty wild. Yeah, you got to go watch it. It's yeah.
Well, he knows his onions. If you like your experts, that's he's about as experty as they come, isn't he?
He's negotiated many treaties while he represented 6 different British Columbian governments over the years. He's just retired from the government a couple of years ago, and now he's working on his own. He's trying to educate the public as to what's going on here. It helps explain it. There's good comments as we were doing the show. He's very knowledgeable, and asked him, yeah, you got to go watch it. I mean, I suggested it's well worth your time if you're, and this is not just, BC feels most of this, but it's BC, and then I always get these two wrong. I think it's New Brunswick, BC, a lot of Quebec that are really subjected to a lot of this stuff here. So, and it's, he's also said that a lot of the UNDRIP and DRIPA stuff has emboldened First Nations not to settle with treaty, that they want what comes with UNDRIP and DRIPA.
And that's not like that just came out of nowhere. That's what one of the main objections to that was in the first place. That's why it took many, many years for that to end up being adopted as it was. People weren't, people were attacked for opposing it as if they were prejudiced or some bollocks like that, but there were very rational reasons to reject it. But obviously the BC government decided to, or the BC NDP decided to jump right in.
His biggest thing is why is it being done under the cover of darkness? Why isn't this being done openly where people can have input? And he says likely because British Columbians would lose their minds if it was out in the open. Go watch.
But will there ever be a new government? And will the BC NDP ever be defeated? Doesn't really look like that at the moment, does it? But
as Jonathan Kay said, the NDP where they sit really well is that the Conservatives are a bit in chaos. There we have a fractured party. We have a leader that won't let go, and And you have a bunch of fractures. So, the NDP can basically do whatever it wants and do as bad a job as it wants. I mean, look at the health crisis. We look at crisis after crisis after crisis. And one of the things that we need in BC is investment. And with all the uncertainty hanging around BC and with David Eby blocking Alberta, where is the certainty for Canada? We don't know. But Nikki Sharma there, the BC Attorney General, is disturbed by social media. She slams X in intimate images case. She says she's deeply disturbed after X said it intends to challenge an order to remove non-consensual intimate images from an internet. The social media company said it will be challenging orders from the BC Civil Resolution Tribunal to remove an image that violates BC's Intimate Images Protection Act. I don't know much more about it than that. So
it's a great excuse for the NDP to have a go at X, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When, most of the bad stuff that's gone on in social media over the last 10, 15 years has happened on Facebook, hasn't it? And yet, not too much to say about that.
And you got to love this, right? British Columbia's rights watchdog has criticized the province for stigmatizing people who use drugs, calling it a violation of their human rights to treat their health issues as moral failings. And that's Cassie.
Aren't we so glad that we have that woman there, a rights watchdog, Cerberus there, barking, frightening people that dare challenge your rights.
And see, it's working out. It's working out in BC. They just look on the streets, and I'm sure those people, that's the first thing they're worried about, is being stigmatized when they can't even, they can't stand up straight. They're freezing. Yeah.
What she said, the province should refocus on expanding safe supply and harm reduction programs. What? Who asked you? Shut up, man. These people, just these like glorified HR people. HR manager. Just like, shut up, man.
The experiment has failed. Even David Eby admits it's failed. And that's one thing he admits, it's failed. Yet they're continuing it to January, which makes not a lot of sense, right? And then this is the Conservative Party asking David Eby to release all the legal advice surrounding Cowichan Tribes versus Canada case. Kind of got mixed up, right? But yeah, it's under the cover of darkness. Go watch that interview. I advise you to go watch that interview. It's well worth your time. Well worth your time. Kelowna has the 10th highest living wage in BC at $25.95.
I'm surprised it's number 10. Thought it would be a bit higher than that. But the island and below mainland, that's where it'll all be, I guess.
And also, Kelowna is getting some of the highest unemployment.
Mm-hmm. Nearly double figures.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. There's a really high tolerance for really crazy high unemployment, I find, in Canada in general, almost, I think. It's way high. If you look at the other sort of Western countries, other G7 countries, Canada's unemployment is like weirdly high in comparison.
We're almost double the American unemployment rate. Almost double.
And the British as well. The British are freaking out because I think it's starting to approach 5. And the British are like pulling their hair out.
10% is like an economic disaster anywhere, right? You know what I mean? Those are depression level territories. But hey, we're banging on the door in some areas. Like some areas have 10. Like some are, like our youth is in the 20s. Like, I mean, and yet, where's the media asking those questions? That's why they don't give access to the media. That's why Mark Carney and the Liberals control access. Even yesterday, that event, we asked for an interview with Pierre Poilievre. He comes to town every now and then. We're an independent media outlet here in Canada, qualified under the Canadian, whatever goofy standards they have. And no. And then we're told we can come to the event to take photos. It didn't even say video, but we just went there and live streamed it anyway. We're told we can come for photos, no questions allowed. So we live streamed the event, and then all of a sudden, Jeff Stibbard, a local mining guy, executive there with JDS Mining, has a handful of questions that he sits down and has a fireside chat. It was more of almost like a campaign event than it was like a news type thing. Although the Chamber of Commerce the Chamber of Commerce was supposed to put it on, and there's some weird going on there because they canceled the last minute. And the executive director for the chamber quickly went into, or whatever, they went into like a extended sick leave or something. Like something's going on there. And then, yeah.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.